Growing up, I always had excess body fat, and in the process of getting rid of it, I made a lot of mistakes and learned a lot of lessons. That's why I want to save you from having to go through the seemingly endless trial and error that I went through by giving you the top 9 things I wish I knew when I first started dieting and burning fat. And the first thing is that there are many diet foods and supposedly healthy food options that are actually high in calories and can easily prevent fat loss. It's a common misconception that if a food is labeled as diet or healthy, it must be good for fat loss. However, this couldn't be further from the truth. There are many deceptive foods out there. For example, most people think that nuts are great for fat loss, but they're actually very calorically dense, mostly made up of carbohydrates and fats, and it'll take a lot of them to fill your stomach. Many people on a diet overeat them for this very reason, and they don't understand why they're not losing weight. Then there's yogurt, which can be fine if you add your own fruit, but if you get yogurt with fruit at the bottom directly from the store, there's a ton of added sugar. Salads can help you burn a lot of fat, but when drenched in creamy dressings like ranch or Caesar, they can become high in calories and unhealthy fats. Veggie chips might seem like a healthier alternative to potato chips, but they're still fried and coated in oil, making them calorie dense and not good for fat loss. Granola bars also can pack a lot of calories, especially when they contain chocolate chips, dried fruits, or honey. Another example is vegan. Just because something is labeled as vegan doesn't mean it's not packed full of excess calories, carbohydrates, and preservatives. In fact, some vegan certified options are horrible for fat loss. So the lesson here is that reading nutrition labels, choosing whole foods over processed ones, and being aware of hidden sources of calories in so-called diet foods, these are all crucial steps to burning fat. Don't assume something will help with fat loss just because it's labeled low fat, low carb, organic, diet, or natural. The next concept that I wish I knew was that most supplements are not going to help with fat loss and at best will act as the cherry on top of an already solid diet and workout plan. Fat burners are one of the most profitable and oversold supplements in the industry, but they won't do much if you're not already maintaining a calorie deficit. Sure, some good fat burners can very slightly speed up the process, but many people don't feel good taking fat burners because of the typical stimulant effects. And if that's the case for you, they're not worth taking. Then there's creatine, which can give you some energy to lift heavier and train harder, but it's not going to help you burn all that much extra fat. Protein powder can be great if you struggle to take in enough protein throughout the day. If it does help you fulfill your protein requirements, it'll also help you retain muscle while you cut, which can help you maintain a slightly more elevated metabolism. But aside from filling your stomach, protein doesn't have any direct fat loss benefits, and if you can get enough protein from your diet, it's unnecessary to drink protein shakes. In fact, it'll only add extra calories. And then there's all kinds of carb and calorie blockers that are supposed to somehow minimize fat storage after eating a meal, but these don't actually work. The lesson here is to focus on your diet and workout program to see the fastest results. Another thing that I wish I knew before spending countless hours meal prepping and stressing about eating protein every couple hours is that you don't have to eat 5 to 6 small meals a day to burn fat. You can actually eat far fewer times, like once or twice. This concept is often referred to as intermittent fasting, and it's basically debunked the traditional idea of frequent meals being necessary to boost your metabolism. Your metabolism will not slow down if you skip some meals, and you won't lose muscle if you don't take in protein every couple hours. People that are able to stick to a plan better by eating 5 times a day should do that, but the same goes vice versa. 1, 2, and 3 meals a day can all work just as well as long as your totals end up balancing out. And that's actually something else that I wish I knew a long time ago. Burning fat is not about creating a deficit every single day, but rather about creating a deficit over time. Here's what I mean. Pretend that for your body to be in a calorie deficit, you have to eat an average of, let's say, 2,000 calories a day just to keep it simple. You can eat an even 2,000 calories every single day, which would be considered a continuous energy restriction diet, and this is actually the approach most people take. But you can also cycle your calories. As long as your protein intake stays relatively consistent at about 0.73 grams of protein per pound of body weight per day, you can eat 1,000 calories 3 days a week, then 3,000 calories for the next 3 days, and then 2,000 calories on the last day of the week while still achieving the same results. In total, you would still wind up with 14,000 calories by the end of the week, the same exact amount as taking in a steady 2,000 calories per day. Realizing this helps you bank your calories for days that you might want to eat out or have a cheat day, and in general, it makes dieting much more flexible. Even if you accidentally have a bad cheat day, you can actually make up for it by strategically reducing your calories during the other days of the week. So the lesson is to not stress about a bad meal or a bad day. As long as your totals balance out over time, you'll get the same results. Another major point I wish I knew earlier is that exercise plays a tiny role in the fat loss process compared to your diet. Your diet will help you reduce exponentially more calories than you'll ever burn through exercise. It's nearly impossible to out-exercise a bad diet. For example, a person weighing about 180 pounds would have to do approximately 182 burpees to burn off one slice of pizza. That same person would also have to do about 136 burpees to burn off one IPA beer. And burpees are one of the highest calorie burning exercises you can do. Clearly, doing more and more exercise isn't a realistic way to make up for a poor diet. Meanwhile, you get a lot of leverage in reducing your calories if you primarily focus on your diet. For example, if you just don't have that slice of pizza, you can basically save yourself a whole hour at the gym. This also goes without mentioning that excessive exercise can stimulate hunger, making it tempting to overeat after a workout. Lesson being, your diet plays an infinitely larger impact on how lean you are than the amount of calories you can burn through exercise. But with that said, something else that took me a long time to realize is that muscle mass can make burning fat exponentially easier as well. That's why instead of focusing your workouts on burning more calories by doing things like more burpees or running more, you should focus on building muscle by lifting heavy weights. Cardio is definitely not the most effective way to lose fat, but to keep that fat off, strength training is essential. Muscle tissue is metabolically active, meaning it burns more calories at rest compared to fat. So the more muscle you have, the higher your basal metabolic rate will be, making it easier to create a calorie deficit and lose fat. Muscle tissue also plays a crucial role in regulating blood sugar levels and improving insulin sensitivity. When you have more muscle, your body becomes more efficient at using carbohydrates, which can help prevent excess glucose from being stored as fat. The more muscle mass you carry, the more your body can fill those muscles with carbohydrates without it spilling over into fat storage. And every time you lift weights, you'll naturally deplete these glycogen stores, allowing you to eat more carbohydrates to once again refill them up without gaining fat. The next lesson I wish I learned earlier on is that most people lose a lot of muscle when cutting, and it comes back to bite them. To avoid this, you should lift heavy weights and push yourself with strength training while burning fat. It's easy to feel tired and bummed out when you're literally restricting the amount of energy you can take in from food. This leads a lot of people to lift light while cutting. In fact, a lot of people think lifting light will help you get even more shredded, but this is a huge mistake. The number one way that you'll maintain your muscle while you burn fat is by maintaining as much strength as possible. So the whole way through, as you're burning fat, you want to try to lift the same weight you were lifting before you started dieting. Only drop the weight when your reps get too low, such as 4 or 5 reps. If you can still do 6 reps with the weight load that you used to be able to do 9 reps with before you started dieting, stick to that same weight load and really push yourself to squeeze out those reps. That'll help you maintain muscle, and again, by maintaining muscle, you'll maintain a faster metabolism, helping you keep the fat off after you're done. Now, another thing I wish I knew after I already burnt off a lot of fat is that maintaining an extremely low body fat percentage year-round is not only extremely difficult and unrealistic, but it's also unhealthy. You have to understand that models and bodybuilders get to ridiculously lean levels, but they only stay that lean for the photo shoot or the day of their competition. Having veins on your abs or striations on your glutes is not something that most people can maintain year-round without running into serious problems. For example, you're always going to be tired and lightheaded. Your libido is going to plummet. You'll probably experience erectile dysfunction, or you might lose your menstrual cycle, and you're just going to feel like crap regardless of how good you think your body looks. It's much better to set realistic goals like maintaining a 12% body fat as a man and a 19% body fat as a woman year-round, rather than trying to be unrealistically shredded. Last but not least, something I really wish I knew earlier is that progress with burning fat will not always be linear. It's common to hit weight loss and fat loss plateaus where your progress seems to stall. This is a natural part of the journey, and it doesn't mean you're failing. It usually simply indicates that your body is adapted to your current routine and it's time to make adjustments. As you lose weight, your calorie requirements will most likely decrease simply because carrying around 180 pounds of mass is less demanding from an energy perspective than carrying around 200 pounds of mass. What worked for you initially in terms of calorie intake and macronutrient ratios may need to be modified to continue making progress, especially when you factor in a temporary slowdown in your metabolism, which is inevitable no matter what method you use to cut your calories. The main lesson here is to reevaluate your fitness and nutrition plan every few weeks and make necessary changes to keep moving forward towards your goal. Don't rely on the same plan that got you to where you are now to get you to where you want to go. So those are 9 of the top things that I really wish I knew when I first started dieting, losing weight, and burning fat. I really hope this video has helped you out. If it has, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And as you can see, avoiding common mistakes can save you a lot of time. So if you'd like a done-for-you plan based on your body, your goals, and your dieting preferences, head on over to my website where you can get an entire plan mapped out for you for free. The only catch is that you have to stick to it for 6 weeks, which isn't really a catch if you're actually trying to burn fat and transform your body. You'll get a personalized meal plan, a recipe book, a 42-day workout plan, and a coach to guide you through the entire process. To grab a spot, you just got to click the link in the description below, or you can head straight on over to my website at gravitytransformation.com. I'll see you guys soon. Pump it.